Hey everyone, Gabriel here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how this new store is making me $1,400 a day in profit completely on autopilot. And by that I mean that I'm only spending 15 to 30 minutes a day working on this store, and everything else is completely taken care of, completely automated. So first off, I want to show you guys some numbers. So this is actually a new store that I started late November, so around the 25th of November. And since then, as you can see, the store has done $77.3 thousand in sales. So it's been doing really well. I've been working on scaling it gradually, and right now it's sitting at about $6,000 a day in sales. And I don't want to scale it past this point right now because I'm actually in the process of private labeling the product, and I don't want to push it too far before I private label because right now the product is really untapped and I don't want a lot of people copying me. But as of now, I'm really excited about this brand, and I hope that it's going to do really well in 2019. But that's not the point of this video. The point is to show you guys how I automate my stores to the point where I only have to do 15 to 30 minutes of work a day on them. So just to show you the proof about the $1,400 a day, I'm just going to pull up the last 7 days, so from the 10th to the 16th. And as you can see, the total sales were 44K. And my profit margins on this store for those 7 days, I actually did the math before this video, and they work out to 22%. So it's 44,000 times 22. And then divided by 7, so $1.38 thousand a day in profit, and that's pretty much with 15 minutes of work a day. So it's really not bad, and I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I automate everything in this video. So without further ado, let's get right into the content. So when you start scaling a dropshipping store, there's 3 main tasks that you need to take care of that are going to take a lot of time and that you want to automate as soon as possible so that you can start focusing on the higher level stuff. Number 1 is customer service. Obviously, as you start scaling, you're going to get a lot of messages, a lot of emails, a lot of comments, and you want to have a team in place to respond to all of those in a timely manner so that your customers aren't upset, you don't get a lot of chargebacks, etc. Order fulfillment is also something that starts taking up a lot of time as you start scaling, especially if you don't have a good system in place. So like if you're ordering from AliExpress or another similar supplier where you have to put in each order one by one, this is going to take a lot of time. It's really inefficient, and that's another thing that you want to automate as soon as possible. Lastly, marketing is another time-consuming task, right? Especially when you're scaling. Most of you know that once you start scaling, it's not just like you leave your ad sets going and everything goes well. You have to manage them every day, kill bad ad sets, create new ad sets, and so this takes a lot of time, and this is another task that you can partially automate to make your life easier. So I'm going to break down each of those 3 tasks one by one and show you guys how I automate them. First up, automating your customer service. Now, the way that I like to set this up is to use a software called Zendesk, which is a customer service software, and it integrates seamlessly with Shopify, so it's really easy to set all of that up. And once you've got Zendesk allows you to keep things really organized. So it uses a ticket system, which is what most companies use for their support, right? So Zendesk is a really big company, and having this ticket system is going to help you keep things organized. And another thing that you can do with Zendesk that I use a lot is macros. So macros are basically pre-written responses to email. So you can have a macro for every scenario that happens often, and then your customer service agents can just apply that macro and reply to emails in seconds. So I'm just going to quickly show you my Zendesk and what the macros look like so you get a better idea of what I'm talking about, because I understand that this might be confusing for beginners. So these are the macro settings on my Zendesk for the store that I was showing you at the start. And so I have all these macros made, so I didn't actually have to make these myself. My customer service made these. So what I tell them to do is I tell them to make macros for whatever scenario keeps on happening based on our refund policy, based on our shipping times, and everything that I train them to do. So whenever they have questions that keep recurring or a problem that keeps happening, they'll make a macro for it, and then they can just apply that macro whenever they need to respond to someone. So these are just a few of the macros that I have, right? Basic, business days, cancel before dispatch, cancel too late, cash on delivery. So people asking like, can I pay with cash on delivery? Change address, if it's before the dispatch or if it's too late. Charged extra. So people that email us, they say, yeah, I got charged extra, and that's because of the conversion rate between currencies. So all these different problems that happen all the time, like delivery tracking not active, all this type of stuff, we have macros for every possible scenario. So this allows my customer service representatives to easily respond to emails and do it a lot faster. I also have a few tips when it comes to actually hiring your customer service representatives. So number one is that you want to hire them on Upwork.com. In my experience, that's the best place. All you need to do is you post a job and you explain what you need them to do, and you'll get a ton of applicants, and you just need to select the best ones. So a few tips here. Number one is that in my experience, the best price range is around $7 to $8 per hour. You're going to get a lot of applicants who offer a lot less than that, and usually you get what you pay for. So those people aren't going to be fluent in English. They're not going to be attentive to details, and so the quality of the work isn't going to be that good. So what I like to do is I like to pay a little bit more and get someone that has a lot of experience, with Shopify, with dropshipping, with Zendesk, and so someone that's really going to be able to help me out and take care of things independently without always having to ask me what to do and things like that. So $7 to $8 per hour is, that sweet spot that I found that I usually pay for my VAs. Now, like I just mentioned, you want to only hire people with experience using Zendesk. The reason being is that, especially if you don't know how to use Zendesk, they can do a lot of things with Zendesk that you wouldn't even know about. For example, the macros. I didn't set up any of those macros myself. Just the customer service representative that I hired has a lot of experience with Zendesk, and so she set all of that up by herself, and it's going to save a lot of time. It's going to save me money, right? Because now that she has those macros, she can reply to emails faster and not waste time, and I pay hourly, so everyone wins. So hire people with experience. It's definitely worth it. Now I want to show you the job posting on Upwork that I put up to hire this representative that I'm talking about, so you guys get a better idea of what kind of job posting you need to put on in order to get some good customer service reps. So this is the job posting that I put up on Upwork, and it's pretty simple. So all I'm saying is we're looking for an expert customer service representative with experience working in e-commerce. We currently have one experienced member on our customer service team, and we are looking to add a new member. You will be trained by our current customer service representative. When you apply, please include the word blue. So this right here is a really cool thing that you can do, and I do this with all my job postings. So I put in a word like this: when you apply, include the word blue, and I put it in the middle of the job posting, because what you get a lot on Upwork is people who just spam a ton of posts just trying to get any job possible, right? And that's what I mean with the low quality VAs that are going to offer a really cheap wage but aren't actually good workers. So putting a little thing like this: when you apply, include the word blue, you're going to be surprised that the majority of applicants aren't going to include the word blue because they don't actually read the whole thing. They're just going to go, we're looking for expert customer service, okay, requirements, responsibilities, and then done. They're not actually going to read anything. And so by putting this little thing here, you're going to filter out some of the people who aren't actually attentive to details, and you're going to get better employees. Now, requirements, like I said, I always put experience using Zendesk because I want people who have a lot of experience with Zendesk, who know how to work around the different features that it has, and experience doing customer service for e-commerce stores. Now, if I would post this again, this was 4 months ago. I've hired a few more VAs since then. I would probably say experience doing customer service for a dropshipping store, so that they actually have experience dropshipping. They know that it's coming from China. There's slow shipping times. They have experience dealing with angry customers and that type of thing. So 2 more quick tips. Number 1 is that you want to communicate with your team on Skype when needed. So what I like to do is I'll set up a group chat for all my customer service representatives for one store. I'll put them in one group chat, and then whenever they have an issue, they're going to put it in that group chat, right? And hopefully what happens is that another one of the customer service representatives from that store can help them out, and so I don't have to do anything. And that's usually what happens for 95% of issues. Now, for the odd issue, I'm going to have to step in and tell them how I want to solve a specific issue. And so that only happens once in a while, but you do need to communicate with your team on Skype in order for everything to flow correctly. Now, the last tip that I want to give you guys is that you want to put a lot of work training your first customer service rep, and make sure that it's someone that has a lot of skills and that's really good at what they do. And by doing that, your first customer service rep can kind of be the customer service manager for your team. And as you start growing and adding more customer service representatives, you can count on that first person you hired to train your new customer service representatives and to handle the issues that they have when they're just getting started. And so that's exactly what I did. I found one really good customer service representative and got him to train all my new customer service reps and to take care of them. And so that minimizes the amount of work that I actually have to put in into managing my customer service team. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've been automating the fulfillment for this new store. So what I've been doing is I've been using a dropshipping agent, which is what I do for all my dropshipping stores. I've talked about this in my video, Best Alternatives to AliExpress, so I'd recommend watching that one if you haven't yet. But yeah, by using a dropshipping agent, I'm able to really streamline the fulfillment process, especially since I'm focusing on just one product. So this is a one product store the one that I showed you at the start of the video. And so it makes it really easy to do fulfillment. So what I'm doing is I'm paying my agent ahead of time. So I'm sending him money ahead of time, and so that he can stock the product. So he has a lot of stock of this product at all times. And so he can ship out all my orders within 24 hours without any delay. And the way that I'm automating this is that he is using an ERP system that he connected to my store. And so what an ERP system is it's basically a two-way integration between his warehouse and my Shopify store. And what happens is that all my orders come in real time. They get shown on his end, right? So he sees my orders coming in on real time, and he can package them, ship them, and as soon as they're shipped, he's going to upload the tracking number and mark the order as fulfilled on my store without me having to do anything. So before, when I talked about dropshipping agents, I mentioned that you have to do it with Excel sheets, and that's another way to do it, and that's what I've been doing for a long time in the past. But now I've been testing this new ERP system that he told me about, and it makes things a lot easier, right? Like, so now I literally don't have to do anything for my order fulfillment. I don't have to send in new orders with an Excel sheet every night. It's completely automated, and all I have to do is make sure that he keeps the product in stock and that he has enough funds to keep buying the product, right? So that's literally all I have to do, and my order fulfillment is completely automated. So I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like on my store. So there isn't that much that I can show you on my store without revealing too much about my product, but basically this app right here, Dian Xiaomi, is this ERP system that I'm talking about. And once this app is installed, so I just gave him temporary access to my store, he installed this app, and now this is a two-way integration like I mentioned. So all my orders are automatically going to go to him, and then he can also push back the tracking numbers and mark my orders as fulfilled once they're shipped. So this saves a ton of time. And as you can see here, there's 986 orders processing, and the only reason for that is that it's the weekend, it's Sunday right now, and so all of those should be shipping out and fulfilled tomorrow. So this is a really great system, and it saves a lot of time. I don't have to do anything for fulfillment. So if you're at the point where you're getting over 50 orders per day consistently and you're looking for a dropshipping agent, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll be glad to refer you to mine. So now, automating marketing. This is probably the toughest one out of all three tasks to automate, right? Especially when you're just getting started and testing different things. One thing that you can do is you can outsource it to an ad agency. I have tried this in the past and I wouldn't recommend it. It's really expensive and the results aren't that good, and the agency just doesn't share the same passion that you have. So like, if you're really trying to scale, make this a big thing, they don't really care about that, right? They just want to meet the benchmark return on ad spend and just make sure that they're doing a good enough job to stay under contract with you and make their monthly fee. So ad agencies, not really recommended for Facebook ads. And for beginners in general, it's much better to learn how to do the marketing yourself, especially because with dropshipping, you're essentially just a marketer, right? That's the main thing that we are. We're marketers. And so it's really important to learn the marketing yourself. However, during the scaling phase, and once you've already kind of found what's working and you're just trying to spend your money effectively and scale effectively, you can automate a big chunk of it. And that's what I'm going to be talking about. So right now I'm only spending about 15 minutes a night creating new ad sets. And when I said at the start of the video that I'm spending 15 to 30 minutes a day working on this store, that's pretty much all I have to do every day, is just create a few new ad sets every night. And this really doesn't take a lot of work. Usually what I'll do is I'll just duplicate some of the ad sets that are working the best. I'll try some ad sets that are similar to what's working, and I'll make some new lookalike audiences. And this really only takes about 15 minutes a night. And how I manage all of this during the day, so during the day I don't look at my Facebook ads at all. I don't have to worry about them. What I do is I use automated rules. And automated rules allow you to kill ad sets that aren't performing well during the day. So like ad sets that are basically wasting you money. And you can do automated rules for all kinds of things. And Facebook has a built-in feature for making automated rules, but that's not what I use. I use a tool called RevealBot. And RevealBot is a pretty expensive tool, so it's not for complete beginners, but it lets you really to set up some complicated automation rules for your Facebook ads, and basically saves you a lot of time, especially when you're scaling and creating a lot of new ad sets every day. So I'm going to quickly show you what my RevealBot setup looks like, and hopefully that's going to be insightful for those who are interested in automating your marketing. And there's a free trial for RevealBot, so you can also check it out if you're interested in RevealBot. I'm not associated with them in any way. I just like the tool, and I think that you guys should give it a shot if you're spending a lot on Facebook ads. So this is RevealBot. This is the platform that I use for automated rules. And right now I've got two rules running, so I'm going to show you what they're doing. So the first one is broad $50 optimization, and what this rule is doing is it's only applying to one campaign in this third ad account, and this campaign is composed only of $50 ad sets, so different audiences that I'm testing, and there's a ton of $50 ad sets in that campaign, and most of them are doing well if you average it out over a couple of days, but some days some of those audiences might not perform as well. And the goal of this optimization is to pause the ad sets that aren't doing well early on, so that I don't waste money on those ad sets on a given day where they're not performing well. So these are the rules. So basically I've got a bunch of tasks, that's what they call them. Each one of these is a task, and the collection of all those tasks makes up a rule. So I'm going to show you what this rule does. So the first task here, it checks if an ad set has spent over $3 for that day, and if it has, it needs to have at least 2 view content. So if it has less than 2 view contents, but it's spent over $3 and it doesn't have any add to carts or any purchases, it's going to pause that ad set. So just to explain that again, if it's spent over $3 today and there's less than 2 view contents and there's no add to carts or no purchases, it's going to pause that ad set. Now these numbers are based off my KPIs, key performance indicators. So you need to know what numbers you're willing to spend on a given day. So it's important, right? Like you don't want to just copy these rules for your own store because it might not work for you. Like I pick these numbers based on the data that I have on how much I can spend on these ads. So another task is if it's spent over $6 today and there's less than 4 view contents and there's no add to carts or no purchases, again, it's going to pause that ad set. If it's spent over $12 today and there's less than 2 add to carts, less than 1 purchase, so there's no purchases and there's only 1 add to cart or no add to carts, it's going to pause that ad set. So this one, if it's spent over $16 today and there's no purchases yet, it's going to pause that ad set. This one, if it spends over $28 and there's no purchases, it's going to pause that ad set. This one, if it's spent over $42 and there's less than 3 purchases, it's going to pause that ad set. And this one, this is the last task for this rule, if it's spent over $49, and so basically if it's spent the majority of its budget for the day and the ROAS on that day is less than 1.6, which is a little bit higher, but it's around my break-even point. So anything below my break-even point, I'm going to cut it out every day. And so that's what this rule does. It basically optimizes my campaign with a bunch of $50 ad sets, and it's going to pause the ones that aren't doing well on a specific day. But now I've got another rule that complements this one, which basically reactivates ad sets that were turned off by this first rule, but that should be turned back on because in the last few days they have a good historical performance. So I'm going to show you what that rule does. This one, it checks every 30 minutes, but it only really needs to check once a day, but it checks every 30 minutes. I could change that. And so what this does is if spend today is equal to 0, and the only way that spend is going to be equal to 0 is that the ad set is paused. So basically if the ad set is paused and the ROAS in the last 3 days has been higher than 2, so if basically I'm checking if there's any ad sets that are paused that had a good ROAS in the last 3 days. And if that's the case, it's going to restart those ad sets. So this is the rule that I call broad auto reactivate. And so with those 2 rules, I've got this one campaign with a ton of $50 ad sets that are getting turned off when they're not working well, and then they're getting reactivated if they showed good results in the last 3 days. So this is the rule that I'm using. These are the 2 rules that I'm using right now, and I'm still learning a lot about RevealBot, so I'm going to implement a bunch of new rules, but RevealBot is a really good way to optimize your Facebook campaigns automatically without you having to sit at the computer. So that is pretty much the setup that I'm running for automation on this store. Now there's a few tasks that aren't automated. So number 1 is business and growth strategy. For this particular store, I'm trying to grow it into a real private label brand. So I've already started the process of getting it private labeled, and I want to get custom content made with it. I want some lifestyle photos with models. So I'm doing all of this stuff, and this is the growth and the business and growth, like my future plans for this business. And obviously that's not automated. Now, if you could automate this by hiring some CEO or something like that, but I mean, we're entrepreneurs. This is the fun part. So and this doesn't even take that much time, right? So like you only need to put in a few hours, like one specific day, and then not worry about it until the next thing happens, if you know what I mean. So this isn't automated, but I don't really want it to be. This is like probably the most important part. And so yeah, another thing that's not automated is generating content. So once I do finish private labeling this, I'm going to have to spend some time contacting influencers, contacting models, contacting production companies, whatever it may be, so that I can generate content for this product so that I can really scale it as much as possible. Now, there are some ways to outsource this. You can use Upwork and hire some project managers to take care of whatever project you want. So you can really outsource anything you want with Upwork. You just hire a project manager and you tell them what you want to do. But if you're trying to save money, or if you just think that you're the most qualified to do something, it doesn't hurt to do it yourself. So that's why I'm doing these things myself. Like business and growth strategy, I think that I'm the most qualified because I have the vision for the brand and I know exactly what I want to do. So I don't want to just outsource it to someone else. Same thing with generating content. I will outsource some of my content sometimes, like ecom vids. If you haven't heard of it, it's ecomvids.com. They make videos for e-commerce, and it's pretty expensive, but for what you get, it's a good deal. I think it's $400 for a viral Facebook ad, and so that's one way that you could outsource video content. And the last thing that's not automated is the finances. So when you're running at a scale like this, so I'm getting about $6,000 a day in sales right now, I do need to manage the cash flow. So like I need to send money to my agent, right, so that he can keep purchasing stock ahead of time. I need to communicate with my accountant when it comes time to do taxes, all that type of stuff, right? And for me specifically, this doesn't apply to everyone, but since I'm in Canada, I have to manage the multi-currency aspect of things because I get paid in US dollars, and then I need to convert some into Canadian dollars to cover some expenses. So I need to keep track of all the finances for the store. But again, that doesn't take that much time, and that's why I have an accountant. So pretty much everything is automated, but these few things here. And in total, this adds up to about 15 to 30 minutes of work a day on this store. Excluding the business and growth strategy, once I start really trying to make this into a proper private label brand and growing this, and that's probably going to be around the start of 2019, so January, February, I'm going to be putting a lot more work than just 15 to 30 minutes a day. But right now where it's at, it's completely automated, minus just creating new ad sets every night. Alright everyone, so that is pretty much it for this video. I hope it was helpful and that you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment below telling me what you want to see next. I would really appreciate it. And last thing, if you haven't yet, make sure to join the mastermind group on Facebook. It's going to be the first link in the description. I think we just closed over 5,000 members now, so it's growing really fast, and it's a really active community of people who actually dropship and do e-commerce. So make sure to join that group if you haven't yet. And on that note, I'll see you guys next time.